So the one book which inspired you the most?
The Mountain Is You by Brianna West. That's the book which actually inspired me to keep the name of my firm as Pinnacle. Pinnacle Advisor.
One mistake which a startup should always avoid.
People run. I think startups should learn how to walk. I think so. Slow and steady wins the race, I believe. So yeah.
Excellent. One myth about accounting or accountants. Hello and welcome to our next episode of Eye to Eye, which is Idea to Impact, where we directly learn from the startup founders who just had an idea to work with and have already started making impact in their own industry. I'm your host CA Vishal Mehta with my own startup, Prophetic Business Solutions Private Limited, which deals with CFO services and international tax restructuring for startups. Today, I'm super excited to have a professional with us whose name is Vidhi Ashik Modi, who is also happens to be a finalist for Businesswoman of the Year under 40. She is born and brought up in Mumbai and has her own firm named Pinnacle Advisors, which deals into Australian accountancy and taxation services for the Australian boutique firms and also directly for the Australian businesses. Welcome to the show, Miss Vidhi. Glad to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Vishal, for inviting me on this podcast. It's a pleasure to be part of this show. Yeah.
We'll have a very deep conversation and a very exciting one too.
Yeah.
Since you are born and brought up in Mumbai, so I would like to know what transpired your journey to straight to Australia. And I think it was Sydney, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So I think so a little bit about myself that my roots are from Mumbai. I'm born and brought up in Mumbai. I come from a business background. My father, I remember from a very young age, I used to sit with him and we used to talk about random things, about profit, about equity, and all those things. And I was very naive. I didn't know much about how it works, right? So when I graduated from bachelor's, with a bachelor's of commerce degree, I was looking to get more of a global perspective.
Okay.
So I think so that's when the hunt, to travel abroad started.
Yeah.
I think so the best thing that happened was that I was looking for top 50 universities.
Okay.
And University of New South Wales was in one of the top 40 universities for accounting across the globe. So I guess that's how Australia came into place.
Yeah.
And I think so. I think that was one of the best decisions, to travel to Sydney. Yeah.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
So, but at the same time, there would be a little bit of nervousness when you traveled. So, what kind of cultural differences you had to adjust?
Oh, absolutely. I would say Australia as a country is very different to India, right? So, when I first went there, so no one from my family has even gone outside Mumbai, to be honest. So, when I was going for the first time, like every Indian family, like my mother had all this, food that she had packed for me, and I was there, and when I went there, I was like, oh, wow, it's just so different.
Yeah.
So I think so one of the differences I would say is the cultural setup or the societal setup, right? Obviously, I'm a vegetarian, so food number one was kind of figuring it out.
Number one is always food for India.
It's always food. But I think so the cultural adjustment was that Australians in general are very friendly and very direct.
True.
So let me give you an example. I was staying as a paying guest in an apartment with another 90-year-old lovely gentleman. It was us two girls and himself. And I called him one day and I said, hey, I need your help. And because he was 90, in India, we usually have the habit of calling uncle or an aunt.
Yeah,
so I was like, hi, uncle. And he said, hey, just call me Mark, And I was like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
So such things, right?
Correct. No, I totally
were the
agree,
differences,
yeah.
but I guess with time, I think so. I really got well into the culture.
Yeah. But I think it's the best country within the foreign countries where you don't really feel whatever. I've just been there only for a vacation, but through my friends and all, I know that doesn't feel so foreign in terms of making you feel foreign.
Yeah.
They are friendly, I agree. Yeah.
Right, they are. So again, also we have a lot of Indian community that's based out of Sydney, right?
Correct.
And you can go to any Aussie, like Australians.
Yeah.
Just in case if they're passing by the road or crossing the road, they would say a hello. and they're very friendly. So I think so. One thing I believe the best thing about Australia is that the people are just very approachable.
True.
And it's a multicultural country, I would say, especially Sydney being a metropolitan hub. You find people from different backgrounds and from different countries. So, yeah.
Tell us about your role as a UNSW brand ambassador. So tell us something more about that.
Right. So I think after completing around 1 year of my education, so I went there for a master's of professional accounting degree, which was a 2 year degree, and after 1 year with a lot of I would say networking and socializing, the deputy dean at UNSW, when I was studying, offered me that you really speak well.
Yeah.
And how about we have you as the brand ambassador, wherein we want to have you talk about your international experience and motivate more Indian audiences
True.
to come and enroll in our uni. So I went across talking about how UNSW has changed me as a person, academically, again my communication skills, and how UNSW can be one of the game changer for anyone out there.
True.
So I think so that's how it started, and then I think that kind of opened many doors for me in terms of reaching out to the larger, I would say, bodies out there, larger, I would say, larger people in general.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Networking and also your experience of reaching out to larger
Correct.
community and audiences, right? So, Vidhi, tell us more about UNSW, your role as a brand ambassador, and also the recognition that you have got from NSW government.
Right. So I went to Sydney to study for Masters of Professional Accounting after completing my Bachelor's of Commerce from Mumbai. So the course was spread across 2 years, and after completing 1 year, I received a lovely offer. I would say, or I would say, an opportunity from the deputy dean of the business school at UNSW, and they said that, hey, we would really want you to be the face of Indian audiences, Indian students in University of New South Wales.
Okay.
And we want to share your experience about how studying at UNSW has shaped your life, whether it's education, the educational side of it, the personal development side of it, the communication side of it. So yes, I think I was part of few campaigns, marketing campaigns, wherein I spoke about my day-to-day life at uni,
True.
about how different studying there is to compared to India, and how it can help me in advancing in my career.
Correct.
And I think so that opportunity kind of opened many doors.
True.
So I think so. Yeah, it was a special moment for me.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Always
yeah.
feels nice when you are shaping up someone else's career some way or the other,
Right,
through
right.
motivation or through any
Absolutely.
role that.
Yeah.
And you yourself also would be quite young. Now also you are young, but at that time,
Yeah.
so
Right.
yeah, I can
right.
understand.
Yeah. So,
you-
so I think so. That was one of the area which kind of connected me with the New South Wales government in Australia. So again, New South Wales as a state, I would pretty much compare it to Maharashtra,
Okay.
to India. In the same way, New South Wales as a state to Australia is very diverse in terms of multicultural population and having people across the globe. So because of that, recognition as a UNSW brand ambassador, I actually got an opportunity to work on few consultancy projects very closely with the New South Wales government as well. So I think so that was, again, like I said, that one opportunity just kind of opened doors, and it was like every step throughout the way kind of added to some or the other initiative, which was
Correct.
good. So yeah.
Yeah. So you qualified chartered accountant in Australia and also on BAS registration,
Correct.
what they call in Australia. So can
Yeah.
you walk us through that journey, how it was?
Right, definitely. So let me do a little bit of a comparison when it comes
Yeah,
to how
yeah.
things work in India
Correct.
versus how things work in Australia.
Yeah.
So we have Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, who are the statutory body to, license accountancy profession.
Correct.
Very similar in Australia, we have Chartered Accountants Australia and New Zealand. So I'm a
Okay,
fully
so it's and New Zealand as well. Yeah.
correct. So it
Okay.
covers both the countries. They both merged, and now it's across Australia and New Zealand.
Oh, wonderful.
As a fully qualified chartered accountant, very similar to what we do in India, I would say that a chartered accountant is someone who takes care of the accounting side of it.
Yeah.
Now with globalization, I believe accountancy as a profession has grown. You have management
Perfect.
accounting,
Yeah.
you have financial accounting, you have tax accounting, there is auditing, there is consultancy. So in the same way, I would say a chartered accountant in Australia can work across array of specialization.
Okay.
And then when it comes to taxation, in India, we do not have a regulating body as such for when it comes to
Yeah.
lodgement of tax returns.
Yeah.
I believe traditionally chartered accountants do that job
Yeah,
in
yeah,
India as
yeah.
well. I think it's similar in Australia. The only difference is that there is a regulation in place.
Hmm.
So tax practitioners board basically regulates the profession of tax
Okay, so
accountants.
there's a separation of tax
Right.
and accountancy.
Tax
Ah,
and accounting, right. So registered BAS agent is basically an expert in indirect taxation. So
okay.
the full form of BAS is business activity statement, and it's basically like a GST return.
Yeah, yeah,
Simply
yeah,
like a
yeah,
GST
yeah,
return.
yeah.
So yeah.
But through various seminars, we always heard that Australian tax authorities and in general tax systems are a
Yeah.
bit ahead
Yeah.
in terms of, you can say, the decisions. If decisions of the litigations, the time taken for the decisions is quite less. Of course, population
Yeah.
is
Plays a
also
huge role.
plays a
Yeah.
huge role. But
Yeah.
is it what we have heard is correct? Like
Right.
use of technology in taxation also they are much ahead than India. Is it?
Absolutely, like to get to again to because see, I've worked across both the countries, and I've
Yeah.
worked in an Indian accountancy practice. I've worked in an Australian accountancy practice, and I would say the key differences is that Australia as a country, number one, is very technologically advanced.
Yeah.
Whether it comes to any industry, whether it's accounting or IT, manufacturing, pharma. So my day-to-day routine was actually working thoroughly with the softwares in place. So we have an accounting software, we have a practice management software. There is a different software for timesheets, and
Yeah.
they all are well integrated. And they focus a lot in initial training and development
Correct.
especially during the probation period.
Correct, correct,
So I think
correct.
so that was, yes, one of the differences. Yeah.
So tell us, Vidhi, what kind of mindset one needs to have to do Australian accounting taxation? Of course, degree is one thing, and you adjusted well. But if you have to train someone about the mindset, or advise someone about the mindset to do to
Correct.
deal with those
Yeah.
people culturally as well as the mind
Right.
shift which one needs to have.
Right. So I think so again, whether it's Australia or US or UK or Germany or any country per se, I feel one mindset that I developed again. It just comes from experience,
Yeah,
which I
yeah.
believe is just having an open mindset, right?
Understood.
I feel Australia has taught me one thing that. Like I said, that there is no concept of sir, madam, uncle,
Yeah, yeah.
auntie. So that basically makes it very easy for me to also understand and talk about things in general with my managers and my the partner of the firm. So I'll give you an example. So when I was working in Australia, during the lunch breaks, we all used to sit together and eat.
Correct.
It was not something that
Yeah,
I
that's a
just was
good
working,
ice break kind of thing.
ice
Yeah,
break kind
yeah.
of a thing.
Totally agree.
So I think that was something which really helped me, which is
Correct.
just easing into the culture. But that came with, obviously, with me spending like years in Australia
Yeah, I understood.
and working.
So key thing is the key word to pick out from here is to have open mindset.
Yes,
The other
absolutely.
support will come to you.
Absolutely.
But to learn
Absolutely.
things, and I think they are more practical in their approach. I have seen emails also. Not all. It's not only about Australians. General MNC
Yeah.
companies. They just write emails also. How they speak.
How they
It's just
speak.
what-
Yeah.
But they put the message out
Right.
quite clearly.
Right.
So Yeah,
Yeah.
totally agree.
Yeah. So I would say it's very good because they have this very thin line of border wherein they still maintain that professionalism.
Yeah.
At the same time, they're friendly as well,
Yeah, yeah.
So I remember we start our day in Australia, like still we, people in Australia start their working day by 9 usually. And for the first 15 minutes is just talking about what the weekend was all about. So they are so chill, and then
Correct.
obviously we get to work that, come on, let's
Yeah,
keep
yeah.
going. So I think so that's good thing. And one more other I would say, like a quality I would say that helped me was that I was very curious always to understand the why behind anything that was given to me. So I always was looking forward to और कैसे सीखूं, like how do I better improve
Yeah, yeah,
myself,
yeah.
and how
True,
can
true.
I learn new things
That's a
in
general good
general.
attitude which will help you across.
Correct.
But in more so when you are out in foreign country.
It does
Correct,
definitely,
correct.
yeah.
So then
Yeah.
what again brought you back to India? Love for the country or something else?
Oh, I mean, trust me, this question has come to me so many times, and I think so. I just have one version for this answer, right?
Yeah.
So again, I was, in 22 when I moved back, I was in Australia almost for 6 years, and I did my bachelor's and master's and did my accountancy, and my career progressed, and I was having a very good salary. My residency was almost in pipeline, and I had almost all practical reasons to, I would say, stay in Australia. But I think so COVID kind of really shifted my perspective a little bit, and I felt that staying close to family is something that truly makes me happy.
Yeah.
So obviously my parents came to Australia, and they were there. My younger sister was studying in Australia as well. But I guess I just felt that now I've gained this experience, I've gained this qualification. I don't think money can only be the parameter to
True.
make me happy.
True, true.
And I thought, again, a leap of faith that I wanted to give it a try. So I decided that I would come back to India, give it a year at least before I think whether India is somewhere I see my life.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
think so. Like I said again, it just went in the flow.
Yeah.
And I think I'm very, very, very happy in India next to my family. And I think so. A lot of things have happened since then.
Yeah, yeah. Awesome.
So I think so. Yeah, I feel I'm lucky enough to feel right now. I would say it's all in the head, right? That I've made the right decision.
Yeah, that's
So,
how I
yeah.
had made this decision.
Yeah,
For
yeah.
me, it was not moving from country. I was always in India, but yeah, from service to having your own firm was
Yeah.
quite similar to what you have been.
Right.
But for you, there was one more thing that moving from country, but of course
Country.
back to your own country.
It's like, I mean, back to your roots. I mean, the
Yeah,
comfort
back to
for me, the biggest comfort was obviously the food. I come from a typical Gujarati family where me and my father are absolute foodies.
Foodies,
We
oh.
love food. We love food. So yeah.
So there started, I think, your journey with Pinnacle Advisors, right?
Right,
The
right.
name sounds interesting.
Yeah.
And also your journey about, we would like something about that journey. So from Australia to India, and then from there, again, were you thinking anytime Indian CA or Indian job, or straight away
Right.
Pinnacle?
Right. So I would say Pinnacle didn't start the moment I came to Australia. So now in 22, when I was back in India, I had 6 years of experience working. I was a qualified accountant. I had completed, I would say, 150 plus ad hoc consultancy projects
Wow,
in addition
awesome.
to full-time employment. So now I was here and I was finding my roots, like what is next, right? The natural question that comes.
Correct.
So then I thought that, yes, I have the qualification and I have come back, but I need to understand how India is now. So I remember
Perfect.
when I left for Australia, it was 2016 and now it's 22. And I'm sure you would, accept the fact that in 10 years, India has grown
Yeah,
tremendously,
yeah,
tremendously. So then I decided to work in a legacy-based chartered accountancy practice. I worked in the international tax team for almost a year out there, and I understood how practically things work in India. How
Correct.
do you work with the team? How do you get the work done? At the same time, how do you delegate the work? What are the systems and
True,
processes?
true.
What is the mindset? Again, someone who has lived 6 years, I got a very good reality check when
Yeah,
I came back of
yeah.
how things are different in India
Yeah.
on both the ways, good
Yeah,
and bad.
yeah.
So I think so that was a turning point. And after that, I felt that I was ready to have something for myself.
Correct.
And then again, I thought I quit my job and I was like, now I'm ready to have something for myself, which is a service-based business. So that's when Pinnacle came into the place.
Yeah.
So I clearly remember initially when I was looking for names, right? What should be the name for the firm? I did a lot of
Research. Yeah.
and the first question was that, oh, I'm not getting a domain on this name, if I want to start my website.
Yeah.
But then I guess Pinnacle struck by me because I connect a lot to mountains in general. And I feel that reaching at the peak of mountain is something that people want to,
Yeah.
but it's very difficult to be there.
It's always the journey that is exciting.
That's
Yeah.
exciting.
Yeah.
Yes. I think
Correct.
so. That's how it just happened, and
Correct.
that's how Pinnacle came into place. So yeah.
One change you mentioned, India changed a lot from 2016 to 22. Every area India changed, yes, but the area which matters to you would be one is our Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. I believe they do a lot for Indians. For you, it was case of returning, but otherwise also for Indian chartereds, they have opened up the doors to do overseas accounting by tying up with various countries.
They have,
So,
yeah.
what kind of system within India through ICAI or any other body helped you to do sitting in India, get clients from Australia? Of course, your network was always there.
Right.
But did Indian system or any arrangements of ICAI helped you?
Right. So it did, right? So I
Okay.
think so after the leadership of the new government, like Shri Mr. Narendra Modi, in 21, just right, I would say during COVID, the Indian Institute of Chartered Accountants got into an MOU with CAANZ, where I
Okay.
was qualified from, and vice versa, and also with CPA Australia and many other Australian accounting bodies. So that kind of opened doors for many local accountants to migrate to Australia and understand how the Australian accounting and tax works.
Correct.
At the same time, people like myself, in terms of reverse migration, came
True.
here and understood that how does the Indian accounting side works, right?
Correct.
So I think so now after COVID, people in generally are more accepting with the fact that online working or remote working per se is fine. It's a norm.
Yeah.
Which I believe has happened after COVID.
Yeah.
And I think it's so good to see that ICA now, I was part of World Forum of Accountants
Excellent.
in January in New Delhi. And it was amazing to see that accountants are just not number crunchers now, right?
Definitely
We are
not,
doing a
yeah.
lot of things like
Yeah.
consultancy, like you were doing CFO
Yeah,
level
yeah,
services,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I feel ICAI in past 10 years, I feel has shown a lot of interest in focusing
Yes.
on communication as a subject.
Yeah.
Besides, educational and technical
Trainings and all, yeah,
expertise all.
perfect.
So I think so. Yes, we have a lot of people now coming from Australia and forming organizations. Starting their own setups here, and I think so. They have been able to get a lot of support from ICAI in terms of connecting them with the right professionals across the globe.
Yeah,
So
perfect.
so ICAI has many international chapters going across as well.
Yes. They are supporting quite good in that way, yeah. You mentioned that you have done more than 150 plus, that's a good number, consultancy services, and it's rising. So how do you balance the quality with the kind of quantity that you are keep on getting and the trust which you have developed? So how you keep that balance?
Honestly, it is difficult. I'm sure you would know every person who comes from, working as a team to, working as a team member in an organization, a typical employment to starting their own firm, right? So obviously, when I was in Australia, I was working more as a consultant in my independent and individual capacity. But now, when I have Pinnacle in place, I have people working under me as
Correct,
well, right?
correct.
And what we do for quality assurance, number one, is that we have systems and processes in place.
That's
So let me give you an
very
example.
important,
If
yeah.
a client comes to us with that, I want you to help me with a GST return in Australia. So we have a start to end process that, we need to log in into the accounting softwares all the way till signing off. We have an SOP in place, and I make sure that I review every job that comes to Pinnacle.
Awesome.
We also have people, at Pinnacle who are also kind of being now trained that how can the review process take place? How can it makes life easier for me?
Correct, correct,
But
correct.
again, like I said, Vishal, I would say Australians in general, or I would say even now Indian businesses in general, are looking for that personal touch.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
One of the big key differentiators from working in a big four versus working in a mid-size accounting firm is that clients just want to call you on WhatsApp
Yeah.
even at
Yeah.
9 o'clock at
Yeah.
night and
Yeah.
talk to you that
Correct.
can you help me? What is
Yeah.
going to be my profit for
True,
this month?
true, true.
Which I believe still happens even though I'm in India and my clients are in Australia.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that personal touch brings a lot of trust.
True.
Having right systems and processes in place gives a lot of clarity.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say we are still there. We are still learning.
Yeah.
Like every new process, every new client, every new business has a new requirement. So we
It teaches
constantly
us a
work
lot of
on
things. Yeah.
improving our
Correct, correct.
systems and
Yeah.
processes.
But at
So,
least
yeah.
if you have your mindset of having processes in place, then your team also knows that Pinnacle works this way. So we have to adapt to this approach.
Correct.
So even if the client is new, but general processes
Right.
will always remain same.
Correct.
So as they say, if you can be organized, then a lot of your hours are
Saved.
saved.
Yeah.
And
So
that's why
yeah.
there, even if it's their business or job, I have seen 9 to 6 because they are more organized. And here, of course, it's a combination of a lot of things.
Right.
Clients also needs to be organized.
Yeah.
But being organized helps you a lot. So
Right.
I'm sure you would agree.
Oh, definitely, definitely. But I'll tell you this, Vishal, right from my experience, whether it's India or Australia, there are always two kind of people.
Yeah.
One are number one client would be who would be very structured, systematic. You just need to write that one small query email, and the other one would be till the day of lodgement we wouldn't have complete information.
True, true. So that's why I say
yeah.
being organized has to become from
Yeah,
both the sides.
both the sides, so yeah,
So
yeah.
your team is growing, is it?
Yes, it is. It is. Yeah.
Great, great. And within India, it's registered as what? Pinnacle Advisor. It's a sole proprietor or a,
Right. So I would say at this stage, because we are more in the startup phase right now, Pinnacle Advisors is the business name under which we are operating, but I'm the solo founder at this
Okay,
stage,
okay.
to have been working across. However, I'm more keen on understanding other business structures with new financial year in Australia just kicking in from 1st of July. So that's kind of more of a legal discussions that I'm having with my lawyers about what can be done and how can it be done. So yeah.
So what are the main year-end compliances in Australia, like GST, something more?
Right. So again, like very much like India, right? So we have income tax return, which is the basic thing
Yeah.
that we have. Other than that, we also in Australia have monthly, quarterly, annual GST returns to be
Okay,
lodged.
based on
There's-
turnover or?
Yes,
Okay.
based on turnover. Again, we have I would say fringe benefits tax returns. Again,
Okay,
fringe benefits.
is there? India tried to introduce it, didn't
It
work.
didn't work out.
Yeah,
Yes, we
yeah.
do have fringe benefits
Okay.
tax in Australia.
Yeah.
And we do also have fringe benefits tax return compliance. Again,
Okay.
a very interesting and a very separate act compared to the Income Tax Act. We also have, I would say, payroll lodgements. So in Australia, whenever an employee is paid, the Australian Taxation Office needs to be informed by a lodgement. So if an employee is paid, say, on monthly basis, then every month a return should be filed to the government stating that this are the gross wages, this is the TDS on salaries, this is, his provident fund, simply. So we have different terms for that in Australia.
Yeah, yeah.
But the concept still remains the same.
Remains the same. Okay.
Right. And other
understood.
than that, we also have to let the government know whenever whenever the businesses pay superannuation, which is kind of the retirement benefit for employees. So there is a superannuation tax return on quarterly basis, which the businesses need to file to let the government know how much superannuation is being paid to
Correct.
the employees as well.
Correct,
So yeah.
correct.
So different. So again, broadly speaking, the logic behind that remains the same. But I would say the day-to-day functionality, the tax office functionality, right? We have AIS and TIS as statements here
Yeah,
in India.
yeah.
In the same way, we have pre-filled reports in Australia. We have income tax account, we have integrated client account. Those are different terminologies used in Australia.
True.
But again, the logic is the same.
Logic is the
Logic
same.
is the same.
Correct,
So
correct.
yeah.
Understood. So now tell me, I'm sure everyone would like to, every Indian chartered accountant. I mean, people still come to me how I get multinational clients coming into India. I share my experiences. That's something different because, of course, through networking, and I do share my experiences. Now, audience would like to know from you some tip of if they want to start something similar, need not be Australian, say any overseas
Right, right,
accounting
right,
outsourcing solutions,
right,
then what would be that one tip which you would like to
right.
give?
For me, I think if I say my experience, one tip as per my experience would be just invest a lot in business travel.
Okay.
Don't consider it as an expense. Consider it as an investment.
Investment.
I know it's easier said than
Yeah,
done.
yeah.
I mean, I'm still very much Indian at heart, right?
Yeah,
So if I
yeah.
go to Australia, I still every time convert the
Convert
Indian
it to
currency
INR.
exchange
Yeah.
rate and count that how much would this cost me
Correct,
if
correct.
I was in India. But see again, it's an investment, right?
Yeah.
So if you want to have an outsourced business, if you want to build an offshore team, you got to learn what the local norms are. You got to
Yeah.
learn what the local culture is. You need to build a local network. You need to invest, not consider it as an expense.
Correct.
So I would say 4 times almost a year. My vision for the next year is to travel to Australia at least 4 times in a year.
Yeah.
And every trip spans across 1 month. So that includes definitely, flight expenses, accommodation expenses. But again, I look it as an investment.
Yeah.
Because if I can be locally there and build that trust that, hey, I have lived here, I know the culture here, right?
Correct.
But for anyone else, I think even though the experience might be different, that they would have been living in India unlike me and want to
Yeah,
operate.
yeah.
And again, travel is
Travel.
very
Travel
important.
is
I feel.
important.
I feel. Yeah.
Because as it is, you are providing services from distance. At least you need to build that trust and travel. If there also you
Right.
try and save those. One is that existing clients trust also you may lose, and second is how
Right.
will you get new clients?
Right. And I mean, honestly, if, I would say nine on 10 out of 9 times from I would say 90% of the time, our clients refer clients to us.
Correct.
And again, how it comes is that they just tell me that, hey, Vithi literally understands my business. So I just tell them that, hey, I don't think you should do this because this would be an issue. And I tell her that, I don't want you to depend on me for daily bookkeeping because that is something you can do. So they understand that I'm just not there to make money. I'm there to build a scalable business, right?
True.
And if you think that, Vidhi, is that commercially viable? I would say, yeah, because then they come to me for consultancy.
Yeah, yeah.
So again, it's not that I'm not making money.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
the fact of where is the client comfortable? How is the
Correct,
client comfortable?
correct,
is
correct.
is the client comfortable?
Correct, correct,
And
correct.
if the client is comfortable, I think they won't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Comfort is the key.
That's
I mean,
a very key thing
so,
you
yeah.
mentioned, because even I had observed, because for the first incorporation, wholly owned subsidiary, which we did,
Yeah.
in my mind, I had kept that this will be for 2 years. So I'll have, so whenever it goes away from me, I shouldn't feel bad, because it's quite practical. When they will grow, they will have their own team. So that kept me on toes. But today it's end of 8 years. The company is still with us,
With us,
because
yeah.
trust, understanding their business, and that was enough. And of course, we made some mistakes. We improved from that.
Right.
But the obvious thing which I felt, that within 2 years that company will shift to their own employee,
Accountant. Yeah.
didn't happen.
Correct.
I believing that would happen always kept me on toes. That's good that
Yeah.
they say that be prepared for the worst.
Be prepared for the worst. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I completely agree that
Yeah.
trust is the most important thing.
Most important thing.
And trust
Absolutely.
you can build only by, in your case, travel helps building trust,
Right.
and understanding business, and
Right.
providing solutions to them, even if that may be slight dip in your, as you
Right.
told that if bookkeeping they are more comfortable doing by
In-house.
themselves,
Yeah.
Vidhi is always there for consultancy. Yeah,
Consultancy. So
correct.
yeah, I mean, see, again, I feel at the end is that my client I know have also called me at 11 a.m. and at 11 p.m. 11 a.m. when they are with their team, 11 p.m. at night when they're like, hey, this is not working. What
Correct.
do you think?
Correct.
So that's when the analysis part, like CFO level
Yeah,
services, wherein
yeah,
you
yeah.
analyze the
Correct.
accounts and tell them that, hey, I think so you can stop
So,
paying this
yeah,
subscription. This is not
yeah,
helping and save
yeah,
money.
yeah.
So I think so. They again, like I said, they're looking for comfort and trust.
Correct.
They don't want to deal with many people. If you
Correct.
can yourself be
Be that one point.
one
Yeah.
point, then they would just come to you.
So then Pinnacle is also looking for other than Australia, so like say US or Canada,
Right.
because certain things would be common for an outsourced accounting firm, right?
100%. 100%.
So
Right. So I think as of now, we don't want to spread ourselves too thin because I'm still, I would say, a startup founder, and I'm trying to find out how I can first build a sustainable business.
Correct.
Again, because it's because it's a services business. When I say business, we have like two era of services that we provide. One is B2B, wherein we directly partner with Australian boutique accountancy practices and work as their team, a typical offshore and outsource model.
perfect.
Second is B2C, wherein we directly work with Australian businesses and help them with everything: bookkeeping, accounting, GST returns, lodgement. In both this area, one thing is common, which is Australia.
Yeah.
Australian accounting and tax.
Correct.
And because I can leverage with my experience, there is more, I would say, advantage which I have in terms of growing that clientele. So first, I want to be like a master in one player, and once I feel that I have built a sustainable business which runs
Yeah.
even in my absence, then definitely,
Yeah, then
this,
you will have SOPs
SOPs
to
in
how
place.
to take it to other countries.
Right,
Yeah,
right. But
totally.
again, Vishal, I feel as accountants, because it's so much our firm, or I would say generally, this profession is so heavily reliant on people, service.
Yeah.
The skills.
Yeah.
I feel, and again having the right people. At Pinnacle, I feel I've been blessed enough to be associating with the right people.
Right people, yeah.
We have a very strict understanding when it comes to timing. When my team says I'll be at 8, I make sure that you're at
8.
8. But then it's my responsibility to make sure that they leave by 5, right? Again, an Australian way of living,
Yeah.
to have that work-life balance, is very important as well.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So tell me, Vidhi, business which you now generate from India, but it comes from Australia, is it all online? Of course, you had built your network, but you still would like to have new clients, right? So what's the way that you now attract more clients, because now you are sitting in India?
Right. A good question, actually. I'll tell you, because right now, when I was in New Delhi during BOFA, a lot of accountants were of this, wanted to understand about
Yeah,
how
yeah.
do I basically get clients.
Correct.
So I would say an advantage for me, number one, I would say, is that because I'm an Australian qualified accountant and have lived for 6 years there, I know the mindset, I know the culture, I know what they want, how they want,
Yeah.
or what they prefer. Simply
Correct.
put it out there. So yes, we are working remotely. My team is based out of Mumbai, and we are expanding our operations in Sydney, Australia. But one thing that I do to build clientele and trust is that I travel every quarterly, or I would say at least every 4 months to Australia.
Okay.
So my recent travel was in March, where I went there to attend a very good exhibition, I would say an expo or an event, which brought a lot of accounting and finance companies and professionals together in one roof.
Oh, excellent.
So that was Accounting and the Business Expo 25.
Okay.
And we exhibited there in the startup category as a services-based business, wherein we provide a lot of
Yeah,
offshoring and
yeah,
outsourcing
yeah.
Australian accounting services. And I also pitched about Pinnacle for the very first time
Awesome.
on the global platform. So that was good. So I think, to come to your question, I believe that I do a lot of travel. Again, pushing a lot out, outside the comfort zone. But I would say there is a comfort zone because I've lived there for 6 years. So the life there is not alien to me per se.
Correct.
But yes, so I do a lot of travel. I think so that helps. I do a lot of follow-ups with people who are also not my clients. So right now again I'm traveling in August for another event to Australia. So I go there and I connect with people from my LinkedIn and I just catch up for coffee, you know.
True.
And I think that is what I believe building relationships
Yes,
really
totally
help.
agree.
Business is second, but it's first that connect, you know,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
really helps.
yeah.
So yeah.
True, true. So tell us more about the nomination of Businesswoman for the Year. So what's that platform about and how you were nominated? So talk us through that journey.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. So, it's an interesting journey. So, I would say 6 months into the game. So Pinnacle officially came into place in February 24. And we were 6 months into the game, and again, because I've worked very closely with the New South Wales government before, a very close business connect recommended me a platform, IABCA. The full form is India Australia Business Community Alliance. And what that community basically does is they bring forward people from Australia and India who are bringing more trade and business in both the countries. So it's a government initiative.
Excellent. Both the governments?
Both the governments, Indian governments and the Australian government, and they also felicitate a lot of people who are into this area. So I applied under the Businesswoman of the Year category, and I was not expecting, honestly.
Yeah.
I just went with an open mind. Again, like I said,
yeah,
open mind. And out of 400 plus nominations, I was one of the top 10
Awesome.
to be nominated for the Businesswoman of the Year under 40. Yeah.
Okay,
Right.
okay.
Yeah. So this year in September, we have Australian government officials and a lot of businesses from Australia traveling to New Delhi.
Okay.
At the Australian High Commissioner, I've been invited as one of the guests on a special invite for the lunch there. And then we're going to have an awards night, and fingers crossed.
Yeah,
if,
yeah.
if it works, then I would be more than happy to be part of the celebration as a winner. But if not, then I think so it's an experience. Yeah.
Even
So-
this is very
so,
good.
Yeah.
So, is there any qualification criteria for
Right.
that?
Yeah.
Of course, your achievements would you have to highlight that or something like that?
Right. Yes. So there were three things that they eventually the criteria was. The number one criteria was that it should be a female entrepreneur
Okay.
under 40, which I believe I met the criteria.
That was easy to meet.
Easy
Yeah.
to meet. The second thing is that it's a startup.
Okay.
So I believe I started Pinnacle from a locked up garage, and I renovated that, and I have my team working from there. So I took them through the whole journey, and obviously the third criteria was revenue, whether there has been any increase in revenue. So then I believe I took them through my journey of how I'm a self-funded startup. I had my savings when I came from Australia, and how I put that savings into what I do at
Correct,
Pinnacle.
correct.
So I think so. These were three criterias, and again with working with the New South Wales government, I guess UNSW. So I think so. Just sum up my experience, and I believe I was able to create an impact. I still think there is a long way to go. I'm not too sure about how it would be, but I'm sure I should be fine. So,
No, yeah, of course. Tell us more about your involvement in Lighthouse project.
Yes, yeah.
So, tell us more about that.
Yeah, right. Oh no. So again, but yes, let me give you the audiences a little bit of understanding about what is Lighthouse Project
yeah,
all
yeah.
about. So Lighthouse Project is an initiative which pairs a mentor and a mentee. A mentor are anyone above the age of 21 who wants to give back to the society.
Okay.
And I would say mentees are usually youngsters within the age range of 16 to 19,
Okay.
and who are looking for genuine guidance,
Okay.
whether it's communication, confidence, life skills, again, just conflict resolution. So, lot of things which I feel if I had got that guidance, I would have had different decisions or different way
True,
of thinking.
true.
So, I work as a mentor. I have
Oh,
lovely
excellent.
mentees, Samruddhi and Disha.
Oh,
They both are in their year 12.
Okay.
and they both come from a background which brings me more grounded to my background in terms of understanding how grateful it is to have a support of a family, to
True,
have
true.
food, to have water to drink, and just some basic things, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I think again, mentoring. I have a mentor, by the way, as well.
Acha,
A
is it?
business mentor, another a lady who is kind of more of on a personal side mentoring me about life.
Oh, awesome.
One of them is in Australia, one of them is in India. And again, it doesn't has to be work. It's just life, right? If
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
stuck somewhere and I feel I need guidance, I call them and I tell them that, hey, what do you think I should do? And the best thing that they tell me is like, I'm here to help you to think what Vidhi should do. Right? So I tell this to my mentees when they come to me कि क्या करे दीदी, पता नहीं चल रहा है अभी. So I said that ये पता लगाते हैं हाउ कैन समृद्धि क्या करेगी ये सिचुएशन में. सो आई
So
फील दैट
going
इज
back
गुड.
to your own self is the main
Main
guidance
thing,
which you get out
main
of this.
guidance.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yeah, it does.
Totally
Yeah.
agree. So, from where did it come from that you should have a mentor?
Right.
So this project also is something which is comes from Australia, or
Right. No, so actually, this project is a local project.
Okay.
It is founded by an Indian, Indian origin, Indian citizen.
Ah.
I would say a very famous personality has started this initiative, Lighthouse Project. But to focus more on what they do, they have presence across, I would say, Maharashtra. They do
It's
lot
a NGO?
of NGO. It's kind of a non-profit organization, but again, they work and they partner with a lot of government schools across Maharashtra, and they pair mentor and mentees based on both the what are the strengths of the mentor and what are the strengths of the mentee. Why does the mentor wants to do the mentoring program? Why does the mentee should enroll? And then we have this informal catch ups. We do a lot of activities together. We do a lot of team work together.
True,
So
true.
yeah.
No. Yes,
Yeah.
that becomes your off kind of activity from regular routine.
Absolutely. I think I look forward to that Saturday. So we have catch ups every Saturday.
Okay.
We catch up around for a year for an hour. And we just talk about things in general. I've meditated with my mentee. We've gone on yoga together. We've gone for coffee. We've gone for walks, and all these just goes. The conversations just go with the flow, and then we touch on topics like daily confidence. What is self-reflection? How can you change in your mind who you are? Because at the end, it's all the mind
Yeah,
game.
yeah.
So different topics that we do, and it's fun. It's super fun. So yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
So bit of technical back from fun.
Yeah.
So what kind of compliances in Australia? So GST you mentioned. So
Correct.
I think India has picked up from more advanced countries only the concept of GST. So I know Australia will have GST. What other kind of compliances do Australian firms have to do with which you as a Pinnacle advisors advise, and how smooth it is for someone sitting here in India? Of course, technology, softwares, communication, everything comes into picture. But is it as easy as someone sitting in Australia, or there is some difficulty because of your geographical location?
Right. So let me have a more of a deeper discussion on this area, right? So Australia is a part of Commonwealth. Again, UK, like United Kingdom, and India has a tax system that comes from British.
Correct.
So the foundation of the tax system in both the countries is the same. It's pretty much the same that we have direct and indirect in India. At the same time, in Australia, we have direct and indirect.
Correct.
As a registered BAS agent, my area of expertise lies in indirect taxation. Now, to talk about the technical differences, I would say the law is still the same. What is income and what should be deductions? But I think from the macroeconomic perspective, India is a developing economy. Australia is a developed economy.
Correct.
So I would say the nuances and the logic behind what the tax rate should be, the taxation on structures is different. Let me give you an example. Like in India, we have a very, I would say, a different tax system, like a different GST system, wherein we have many GST rates
Correct.
based on whether it's
Correct.
central, state, integrated.
And also the products and
Products,
yeah,
and
yeah.
again the differentiation is based on the industries, because
Correct.
every industry has a different economic performance.
Perfect.
In Australia, we just have 1% GST rate, which is one GST rate, which is 10%.
Yeah, yeah.
And that is standardized across the federal and the state.
Correct.
So they have a very standardized system, because again, I would say the population of Australia is the population of Mumbai.
Yeah, yeah.
So again, the comparison in
So
that
those are
level
the
is
reasons why they have
different,
but that
correct.
makes easier life of
100%.
business also, and to some extent life of advisors also.
Oh, definitely,
Yeah.
right. So even though I'm sitting here in Mumbai, I'm a certified accountant. We have the licenses for all the softwares that we work on. We partner with a lot of software companies in Australia in the startup categories, and wherein we kind of have a cross referral in place. Again, with the advancement of technology, we have completely cloud based software. So if we also work here from say 9 to 10, the Australian accountancy firm out there, who are working with us would also get to know exactly what was done from 9 to 10.
Okay.
So it's a real time reporting that
Correct,
takes place.
correct.
So yeah.
Sorry. So geographical differences doesn't much come into picture, right? Because
Not-
it's all
not
technology.
really,
Plus, you already have the degree, which
Right.
kinds of
Right.
puts a trust in place.
Right. And see,
Correct.
again, I feel obviously, the clients are hesitant in terms of understanding whether I have a thorough data protection in place, because Australia is very strict on data protection
Yeah.
laws. So then we make sure that our IT infrastructure is in place, which gives them the comfort. I am the face behind every negotiation or every communication or any conflict, even on daily basis. That we provide to the clients, right? My team is also structured in a way wherein, even though we have an open mindset that we work together, but we still have strong protocols and limitations in terms of who can respond to client at what hour and
Correct.
how.
Yeah.
How important for me is to communicate to them in the right way, in the sense to have the correct grammar and
Correct.
English in place, because
Correct.
I believe that's what basically
Yeah.
forms a strong foundation,
Correct. The
and
first
clarity.
way of communication, especially when you are geographically
Right.
away, far away,
Right,
would be
right.
the emails and written
Right.
communication. That
Right.
should at least the message should be passed on. True.
Absolutely,
Totally
because
agree.
that helps in setting up an intention, right?
Yeah.
And I believe, again, whether again you're an Australian or an American or an Indian, I believe the intent is something which is felt across, right?
Yeah, yeah.
If you deal with
Correct,
someone as
correct,
well on
correct,
daily
correct.
basis. So I think so. Again, it's a lot of learning. We every time learn based on our mistakes,
Yeah.
and I'm very open with my team on the same aspect.
Yeah.
And I'm open to you making mistakes.
Yeah.
I am there.
Main
But
thing is to learn out of
learn
it and
from out
try
of
not
it.
to repeat. Yeah.
Try not to
Try
repeat.
not
So
to
yeah.
repeat. True. That's how we move forward.
Forward.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Perfect. So one thing is to, of course, do the regular compliances, जो चल रहा है ठीक से. But how about if you receive some notices and then you have to convey your version of your reply देना है. तो how do you handle those kind of things also from distance? Doesn't it require any physical intervention?
Right. So number one, so right now we are in the process of setting up a legal status in Australia as well. But I would say till now, one of the very, I would say, popular way across the globe that's going on is to have more of a cloud address and a cloud number. So what does that mean is that from the comfort of my phone, I can use an app, and that app gives me a number, which is my business number. And whenever a client calls, the client will only call an Australian number, but whenever the client calls, I'll be the one picking up the call. Kind of VoIP, the voice call that we had. But again, very different, because they give you a static business number, which is my business number. I have to pay a monthly subscription, like a Netflix subscription, for that number. And that is cloud number. Now, cloud address in the same way wherein I pay to a company in Australia who gives me a cloud address. So any
Okay.
government correspondence, like any client related notices, documents gets delivered to that address. And then obviously, because I'm traveling every 3 to 4 months to Australia, I make sure that when I'm physically there, I get all this admin
Yeah,
work done.
yeah,
So
yeah.
again, like I said, that is where travel has been
It's
of
been, yeah, yeah.
strategic help to me
Correct,
that way
correct,
as well. So yeah,
No, absolutely agree.
yeah.
So tell me what would be that one USP of Pinnacle Advisors which keeps the clients attracted to or to attract new clients?
Right. I would say when it comes to Australia, like because I said I don't want to spread too thin because our expertise and geography is
Yeah.
Australian market. So I think from the Australian perspective, I feel I have the local experience. Yes, there are a lot of outsourced providers from Philippines is a growing market, Philippines, India, and I feel what I have is that I've lived in Australia for 6 years. I've
So
worked
that
there,
becomes the first USP.
first USP, right? And I would say secondly is that we are not an outsourced service provider. We operate like a typical boutique accountancy firm. So yes, it is an accountancy firm wherein one area of services is outsourcing and offshoring. So I feel again, if you run like a boutique accountancy firm, you focus more on training and development. So one of the commitment that we have to our clients is that I take the initiative for training. I invest our money into programs and structures in place, right? So we focus on training as one of the core area. How do we get clients to our door? We provide them with a trial engagement model.
Okay.
How does that work is that we don't, so if a client says that, hey, I have this thing to do, we say that, hey, let's have a trial period of 3 months. In case if you expect my team to work say 8 hours a day for you, say 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Indian standard time, including 1 hour of lunch break, let's just have like 3 hours to start with or 4 hours. During that trial phase, my focus is not money, my focus is to build trust.
Correct.
Obviously, initially we had so many issues because the expectations, what they expect and what we deliver, they need to be in sync.
Yeah.
But that's where in the first 3 years they also understand our intent. They understand honestly how much can we deliver, how can we deliver, and we are very upfront.
True.
We don't take on jobs or assignments in which we do not expertise or we do not have an expertise expertise in. So I think the USP, I would say again, three is that number one, I've been in Australia. Second is that we operate like a typical Australian accountancy firm.
Correct.
And third is that we have clarity. If we don't know, we don't know, and we are out there. But we
Correct.
make sure that we connect them to the right referrals that we have in place. So, yeah.
So you mentioned one is outsourcing and other is offshoring.
Offshoring, yes.
So
yeah.
if you can throw some light on what's the difference?
Sure. So let me give you an example that number one, outsourcing. There is a boutique Australian accounting firm or a boutique US firm or a firm in UK. They aren't able to find the right people and skilled resources in their home country. In my case, Australia. So then they would come to me and they would say, Vidhi, can you help me completing tax returns, GST returns, fringe benefits tax returns? It's your responsibility to deliver it in your independent capacity, and I will be the face to the client. They don't care from whom I get it done, whether Vidhi gets it done or someone working with Vidhi gets it done. That's typical outsourcing. Why they do it? Number one, not able to find enough people, do not have the time to train them. Third, cost affordability. Again, because India is a developing economy. On the other side, offshoring means typically that everything remains the same, but they want a specific dedicated person to be working for them, which is offshoring. Again, obviously, it's outside Australia is offshoring in typical sense, but in this context, offshoring is that Vidhi, you get the work done for me, but I want to make sure that only one person gets the work done. Because it's for them, it's kind of an investment in that one person, because that one person will understand the software systems in place. At the same time, I believe for that one person it's very good because they get the complete hand holding from that accountancy practice. So I think so that
Their payroll or may not be in their payroll, but the dedicated person. Yeah.
so I take complete responsibility of that dedicated person, which is they are on my payroll, they are on Pinnacle's payroll, but they work directly with the client. based on obviously the engagement that they have with Pinnacle Advisors. Now that engagement can either be hourly, engagement can either be job wise, depending on what you can offer, and at the same time what the client is looking for at that time. So yeah.
So tell me, Vidhi, what typically is the difference between how typically an Indian CA firm works versus how Australian CA firm works?
See, again, to focus on the fact that Australia is very much a technology driven country in general. Now, when we talk about accountancy practices, right? So, obviously, in India, most of the traditional accountancy practices use paper, that it's paper based. Again, that is changing. Not that's true, that's changing. In Australia, I would say 95% of the firms would be completely paperless. So they are very much, like I said, dependent on the technology in terms of how they operate. So let me give you an example that my day used to start with a team hurdle. We just had 15 minutes together and we used to decide what should be the priority for today. And then we used to start working on that. At the same time, we had this structure in place wherein I can directly also go and talk to the partner of the firm if I don't understand anything. At the same time, the partner can also come to me and ask me that, Vidhi, what do you think about, having another client? Do you think we have enough team capacity? So the culture was open at the same time, but they were very strict with my deadlines. They were strict with what the deadline at which I have to submit this tax return. Secondly, very early on in my career, I had the exposure to directly talk to the clients. Again, yes, I made mistakes. Yes, I didn't understood the Australian English, but then I guess that mistake kind of gave me confidence. So I feel again certain I would say factors that can be considered locally also is that if we can have like an inclusive mindset wherein the team members, there should, like, I feel there is hierarchy is required, like a hierarchy in terms of maintaining that equilibrium, but the hierarchy shouldn't be in a way wherein the person at the topmost level cannot come and talk to the senior most level. Like an article should also be able to go and talk to the most senior most partner in the firm, because I feel the Gen Zs, I mean, I work with Gen Zs, right? I'm a millennial kid, but I work with Gen Zs, and they are very different in how they think. And at the same time, I feel that they are very genuine and direct, which I feel gets helps in getting the right clarity. So I think so more of such things can be done. So Australia, yes, has a lot of Gen Zs. Again, I worked also with millennials. I also work people who are way older than me. But again, because there is this inclusive mindset, every person in the team works with each other. Again, open to criticism. Even the boss is open to criticism openly in front of everyone. Obviously, it has to be respectful, but they are open. So there are some little bit of, I would say, again, cultural differences, mindset differences.
Okay. And technologically, like India has within the cloud-based accounting, Indian accountants or Indian CA who provides accounting solutions have started using Zoho. Previously, it was QuickBooks. I think QuickBooks went out of India because they couldn't succeed or whatever the reasons. So, same packages. If you have to provide Australian accountant any cloud-based services.
Right, right. So like the way we have Tally software, which is very much prevalent in accounting
Tally is in
industry.
India for local, and
Correct.
if India provides any outsourced accounting service, then they have started using Zoho.
Zoho,
That's how
correct.
India works.
India works,
So,
right.
and how about Australia?
So I would say Australia has Xero.
Okay.
So that's Xero,
Yeah,
Xero.
I've heard about that. Yeah.
Right. So the Xero is very similar to Zoho, or I would say
Okay.
Zoho is very similar to Xero.
Okay.
It's 100% cloud-based software, and it gives very much visibility in terms of audit trail, who has done what, when, how. Secondly, because it's 100% cloud based, like I said, that my team literally, and that's what we do. Like at Pinnacle, every day we use Xero. I'm a Xero partner. I'm a Xero certified partner, wherein it builds more credibility for Australians. You can do everything in Xero. Xero is just not limited to accounting. You can lodge tax returns. You can have electronic work papers. It can be used as a Xero doc. HubDoc is used as a document management system. Again, Xero is integrating with third-party app. That if a client uses PayPal, if a e-commerce client uses Shopify, then there are integrators in place that the income would directly be recorded in Xero via that integrator, you know. So again, it's very advanced. But like I said, that again, the component of training, right?
Yeah.
If you don't know how to drive the vehicle, there is no point of having one, right?
Yeah, true.
So I think so. Again, then a lot of training
Correct.
is required, and that's also what we do at Pinnacle.
Okay, Vidhi, so with you, we have started this rapid fire section. So you are the lucky one. So ready to go?
Absolutely, I was waiting for that.
Okay, so that we'll shoot 5 questions to you. You should be answering like that. What
Sure.
comes immediately to your mind.
Perfect.
Because that will be the most natural answer.
Okay.
So the one book which inspired you the most.
The Mountain Is You by Brianna West. That's the book which actually inspired me to keep the name of my firm as Pinnacle.
Oh,
Pinnacle
excellent.
Advisors. Yeah.
One mistake which a startup should always avoid.
People run. I think startups should learn how to walk. I think so. Slow and steady wins the race, I believe. So yeah.
Excellent. One myth about accounting or accountants.
One myth about accounting that it's all about numbers. It's more than number. Every profit and loss and balance sheet has a story to tell. So yeah.
Your productivity hack.
My productivity hack, I would say long-term work-life balance. I think that's the best way to hit the Monday morning. But I think so on daily basis, it's more like I do sunrise journaling every day and I meditate. I'm a big Lord Shiva devotee, so I meditate every morning. So that's a productivity hack for me. So yeah.
And the last one. Any unfulfilled dream or a dream which you are chasing.
Dream, I would say to be the best version of myself. I think Vidhi as a whole is
Yeah.
still lots to achieve. Vidhi just wants to achieve more and more. So I think so just to be the best version of myself.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. Nice rapid fire. I think 5 on 5.
Thank you. Thank you.
So just before we leave or before we end our podcast, which was an excellent one, I would like you to advise audience, listeners, especially the startups, that what would be that one thing which you would advise them if they want to begin their journey, be it any journey, need not be the same journey like you, but entering into business journey, just that.
Okay. So do not chase to be the best. Just be good at what you do, and you will be better than the rest.
Ah,
So
excellent.
I guess that should be the way to go.
Yeah. Glad to have you here. It was huge honor and very good learning for me. So
Thank
being
you.
a professional.
Thank
So
you.
I'm sure for audience it would be a great learning.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Vishal, once again for having me. It was fun. It was the first time actually I was shooting a podcast. I was very nervous, but I think you made it very fun and
Yeah.
very rapid,
Yeah.
which was nice. So thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you so much
thanks,
for having
thanks.
me.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you.